I'm writing lines to lift his name, no need for fame.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Save News TV. I am your host, AZ Hubbard. Well, today we are talking about Washington State saying that the Catholic Church must change their confessional policy to conform to new abuse law. This article is coming from the Christian Post, and Anagra Kumar is the author of this article. The Washington state lawmaker has called on the Catholic Church to change its centuries old confessional policy so that priests can comply with the new child abuse reporting law. State Senator Noel Frame said the Catholic Church has the ability to alter its internal rules to meet the requirements of Senate Bill 5375, which takes effect in late July. The new law removes an exemption that previously shielded Catholic clergy from having to report suspected child abuse or neglect if they learned of it during a confession. For once, the priests, along with other members of clergy, will be legally required to report such cases to law enforcement or the state's Department of Children, Youth, and Families within 48 hours. Frame, a sponsor of the bill and a survivor of Child SA, said she discovered that clergy was not already mandatory reporters while researching abuse allegations within the Jehovah Witnesses community in Washington state. Speaking to NPR, Frame argued that religious institutions should not be allowed to avoid mandatory reporting obligations through internal doctrines, as noted by Newsweek. She pointed out that canon law, which governs Catholic Church policies, has been revised many times and can be revised again to accommodate the legal requirement. In response to objections from Catholic leaders, Frame maintained that the state has a secular obligation to protect children and that allowing exceptions based on religious practices would undermine that purpose. She said it is within the Catholic Church power to change its policies to allow priests to report abuse revealed during confession. The legislation passed both chambers of the Democrat controlled state legislature largely among party lines, with a 28-20 vote in the Senate and a 64-31 vote in the House. A few lawmakers broke with their parties on both sides. Governor Bob Ferguson, a Democrat and Catholic, signed the bill into law earlier this month. The Archdiocese of Seattle condemned the measure. Archbishop Paul Athele stated that priests cannot comply with the law if the information is obtained during the sacrament of reconciliation. He said this obligation stems from canon law, which declares a sacramental seal inviolable. According to that law, any priest who directly violates the seal can be excommunicated. The Archdiocese affirmed that it remains committed to protecting children, but insists that confessions must be and remain confidential. The Washington State Catholic Conference said it supported adding clergy as mandatory reporters, but asked for an exception during confession. The group stated that such an exception had been granted in most states that require clergy to report suspicion of abuse. The WSCC described that confessional seal as a religious practice protected by the First Amendment and said the law intrudes on the constitutional right. It also said the Catholic Church had taken steps since 2002 to strengthen this policy around abuse prevention and reporting. The Department of Justice under the Trump administration has opened a civil rights investigation into the law. Assistant Attorney General Harmet D. Dillon has said the law forces priests to choose between their faith and the law, calling it a violation of the Constitution, according to the Catholic Herald. The DOJ claims that clergy are being unfairly singled out and denied privileges granted to other professionals, such as lawyers and physicians, whose privileged communications remain protected under Washington law. The Justice Department launched the investigation on May 8th, citing concerns that SB 5375 could infringe upon the free exercise clause of the First Amendment. The provisions shielding clergy from being compelled to testify about confessions will be formally removed when the law takes effect. Members of clergy are considered mandatory reporters in 28 states, with most providing limited exceptions for confidential settings like confession. So, everyone, tell me what you think. Get into the comments and let me know if you feel that this should be protected, the confessionals. Like, share, and subscribe. And is this a separation between church and state violation? Or is the state of Washington correct that this should be reported and that the veil um, of confessional in this circumstance should be lifted? All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Save News TV, and you have a very blessed day. Bye.
I'm writing lines to lift his name, no need for fame. My spirit fed, his word is spread, saves the aim. Pen to paper, truths I scribe, a soulful vibe. To glorify the Most High, let's amplify. I am spreading the faith I hold so dear. For every tear he's ever near. Choirs rise on Sunday morn, his love we adorn. Each melody a testimony, hearts reborn. In every verse a whispered prayer beyond compare, to lift the hearts of those in dark despair. We testify with every note we sing, in harmony let freedom's bell ring. Rejoice and lift your voice, let the sound of praise deploy. Marching to his beat we go, face the seed we're here to sow. Standing strong through trials, love's chapter will compile. A beacon shining, grace defining across the mile. In our stories his glory shines a light divine. Through the gospel groove his truth we move lives alive. Each Sunday pew, a vessel lined with grace anew. Souls intertwined, the word defined, it shines on through. Lifting high the cross we bear in solid share. Hey, hey. The hymn we breathe, in him believe, it's love we declare. We're saved by grace in this old leavened place. Voice is strong in this soulful song we embrace. I'm writing lines to lift his name, no need for fame. My spirit